ready? I'm so excited for you to join me today in this webinar. What I want to do is I want to teach you some things that, I wish I had known when my child was 6 or when I was a teenager. It's information that, you may not have been aware of it yet. So I encourage you to watch through this whole thing, this whole webinar. The information I'm giving you is free. That means you don't have to worry about me bugging you the whole time to buy something. I promise at the end, yes, I'm going to want to know if you want to join me and let me teach you and be part of my program. You're going to know it. You're going to know whether this is for you or not. So listen, figure out, is what I'm saying something that would help you? And then you can decide. Now, I'm pretending that I'm in a room with you because I love speaking in front of people. It makes me light up. I get so excited that I'm like, yes, this is amazing. So I'm pretending that you're with me, and you can pretend that I'm with you, because if I was sitting here talking to you, I'd be as passionate as I am now on a one-on-one or in a group. Are you guys ready? Let's do this. First thing I want to do is I want to teach you how to breathe. A lot of us have forgotten how to breathe normal and natural. So if I said, take a deep breath, go ahead. Take a deep breath in. Now, because we're on the same row, I want you to put your hand here and here. And I want you to notice, are you breathing up here? Or are you breathing down here? Which one feels where the air is coming? Is it coming up here? Is it coming down here? Again, up here or down here? This is so important. The reason is this. In your body, you have what's called the vagus nerve. It's the biggest nerve in your body. It's the biggest one in the central nervous system. It has 2 jobs, rest and digest. Resting because it's your body's ability to rest naturally. And digest. It digests your food. So think about that for a minute. Do you struggle with digestion? There might be a connection here. I'd like to have you pretend like you have a balloon in your belly. Pick a color. Could be all colors. And if you notice, I like colors. I truly like colors. So when you see me and you see my things, that my branding, know that it's not just to catch your eye. It's because it makes me happy. And because it makes me happy, I can be happy when I'm explaining what I'm doing. All right. Anyway, back to the balloon. I'm going to pretend like I have a yellow balloon in my tummy, right here. And I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to breathe here. So watch. Not here. Do it again. Inhale. Not here. Now, when we're little, if you watch a little baby breathe, it's all down here. It's all belly breathing, right? We inhale. The belly extends. And then it collapses. And somewhere during that time period, I know as a girl, when I was younger, I didn't want to breathe that way because I wanted my tummy to be flat. Funny thing is, it never really was. But I wanted it to be, right? So we somehow get to where we're going to stand up and we breathe here. It's very shallow. That's a fight or flight breath. It's all up here. When you end up breathing up here, then what happens is, if you feel panic or anxiety and you try to breathe in, you start breathing really shallow, right? And it makes it hard to catch breath. And in fact, some people, what happens is they're breathing so shallow that they start getting pains in their chest and in their arms. And what's going on is they feel like they're having a heart attack. But what's really going on is they're having a panic attack because they have all this up in here, all this coming in and out. We breathe in and out, carbon monoxide, and we can't get it out. We can't release what's in our chest. And so we get to the hospital and they're saying, you're not having a heart attack, you're having a panic attack, right? Because you're so used to breathing up here. By breathing down here, diaphragmatically, it allows your body to relax naturally. So that's something you can work on. You can start to breathe that way. And sometimes when you first start, it kind of feels unnatural because you're not used to it. And it can be kind of difficult because you have this tendency of like, oh my gosh, I got to breathe up here. And if I don't take these breaths up here, I'm not going to be able to breathe. Okay. When I talk about rest and digest, that's what the vagus nerve job is, to rest and digest. It's your body's ability to rest naturally and digest. There's a couple ways you can strengthen the vagus nerve. One is by breathing diaphragmically. The other is through gargling. And the other one is through humming. So if you have had trouble with digestion, that's a really good tip to do. Just focus on your breathing. And the better you get, the better you can control, especially when you get anxious or start to panic. All right, you guys are here for two reasons. You are here for two reasons. More than likely, one is weight loss, right? Tired of being on this roller coaster? Woo, right? The other is you just want to feel better. You want to feel healthier. You want to have more energy. You want to have more sleep. You want to be healthy. Hence why I call this the Optimal Health Challenge. I'm going to tell you my journey because I have struggled with weight since I was 17 years old. That's a long time. Considering June 30th, I turned 58. Yes, 58 years old. Looking great at 58, feeling great at 58, living boldly and great at 58. But my journey looks like this. So 10th grade, I was a cheerleader. This little tiny cheerleader, yep, cute. Isn't she cute? She was so excited. So excited to be a cheerleader, 110 pounds. Well, the next year, that 110 pounds went to this. Ooh, look at that. Okay. So I went on that, started on this roller coaster ride. Whoa, right? And it was hard because, first of all, back then, if you were a little bit overweight, they called you a fat cheerleader. That was really hurtful. That's what happened. It was pretty painful. What it did to me is it got me on this panic of I've got to lose weight. So I started trying lots of different ways. Anything that would work. Bulimia. I'll throw up. Yeah, I didn't like that one. Anorexia. I just won't eat. It was back in the 80s, right? That was when that was really popular. I didn't like that either. That wasn't very fun. How about the cabbage diet? How about I'm going to just drink Tab at the time? And Tab at the time was the same as Diet Coke, right? And I was addicted to Tab. I drank it all the time. And you know what? I couldn't lose weight. So I decided I'm going to teach aerobics. I loved the energy of being in front of people. And so I started teaching aerobics. And I went from this, whoops, to this. Woohoo, aha. And I taught aerobics for 18 years. I loved aerobics. It gave me energy. It gave me drive. The thing is it didn't necessarily keep the weight off, right? So it came like this. I ended up looking like this. Yep, on that roller coaster, up again. Whoa, right? The thing I learned about weight now is that it didn't have anything to do with how much I exercised. It didn't have anything to do with any strict diet, because the more strict it was, I could lose weight, but I gained it back because they weren't sustaining, right? So then I decided to do Body for Life. That was a big one back then. And it was very strict as far as your food goes and how much you exercise. And I went down like that. Whoa, check that out. That's pretty cool. Even if I have to say so for myself, right? That was in 2001. So I did that. Now, it wasn't very long, and that turned into that. And I don't know who dressed me that day. Yeah, but it looked like that. Okay. So I was back up about 40, 50 pounds. And I was determined, I'm going to lose weight. What I realized at that moment is it really wasn't about, it wasn't just about the food, right? Because losing weight is pretty simple. In so much, out so much, right? I could tell you exactly how much each food had in calories, fats, and sugars. Back then, it was almost like we were against fat. It was like, okay, you can't have fat, so we're going to put more sugar into your foods, hence this, right? And I realized that moment, this was in 2015, right? I was back up 50 pounds. I decided that it really was about learning how to eat in moderation, because I thought about, if I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do it fun. If you know me, I love fun. If it's not fun, I'm not there. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. It doesn't sustain myself. So this time I decided it's going to be fun. That means I'm not going to take out anything. I'm not going to eat weird stuff. I'm not going to, be excessive on my calories. I'm going to learn how to eat things in moderation so that I can sustain it. And I went from that picture to this picture. Woo! Check that out. I know, pretty cool, right? I know. Even for myself, I think that's pretty cool. That was in 2015. And for the most part, I kept it off. 2020 was just a weird year. A lot of people gained a lot of weight. I know mine went up about 10 pounds. And with what I've been doing in the last month, I'm back down about 4 pounds and 1.5 inches in all parts of my body. So for me, I'm pretty excited. I share that with you for a reason. I share that so that you can see that, yes, I understand that journey. Now, you might say to yourself, but that's only 40 pounds. I can tell you that 40 pounds is more like 200 pounds, because I'd lose it, I gain it, I lose it, I gain it, I lose it, gain it, whatever, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. This is not a fun roller coaster to be on. I like being on roller coasters, but I don't like the weight loss roller coaster. It's not fun. I want to teach you some things that are sustainable, that they work, and together it will bring an optimal health. What does that look like? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My business is Shelly Jo Hypnominas. That's me. I'm Shelly Jo Wallstrom. I am a certified hypnotherapist and a certified recovery and addiction and mental health nutrition coach. Can I tell you a secret? When I was growing up, never did I say, I want to be a hypnotherapist and a certified addiction recovery and mental health coach when I grow up. Never. In fact, I found this little paper the other day, and it was when I was in 4th grade, and I had written on it, and it said, I want to be a baseball player when I grow up. The funny thing about that is, up until that point, I had never played baseball. In fact, I don't even think I've even seen baseball. And up until this day, at 50 years old, I've never, ever, ever played baseball. So I have no idea where that came from. It kind of reminds me of my cute little granddaughter. Her name's Harper Jo. When we went to her preschool graduation, and she's so proud, and she's standing up there, and the teacher says to her, to all the kids, what are you going to be when you grow up? One little boy says, I want to be a construction worker. Little girl says, I want to be a teacher. My little cute little blonde-haired, blue-eyed Spitfire Harper Jo stood there really tall and proudly and said, I'm going to be a witch. I bet you when you were that young age, I bet you didn't think to yourself, I do not want to be struggling with weight when I get older. If you're here because of addiction, I bet you when you were a child, you didn't say, I want to be an addict when I get older. Or as a child, a little child, I bet you didn't say, I want to struggle with anxiety, depression when I get older. So that's why we're here. Are you guys ready? Feed your brain, change your life. Take control of your brain, body, and emotions. The optimal health experience. When I first started this, and you might have seen it, it said the optimal health challenge. And I thought about that, and I thought, you know what? For some people, challenge is not a good word. Now, for others, like me, it's like, yes, let's do it. Let's go, right? I got to beat this. I've got a little bit of competitiveness in me. My daughter has a lot more, but I have a little bit. So challenge, I like challenges. Challenges are good. But I decided that instead of this being a challenge, I want it to be an experience, something that you go, oh my gosh, I am learning how to live this wonderful optimal health in a body that I feel good in, that I can get on the scale and I look down and the scale is not my enemy, that I look good in my clothes, that I can feel good, that I can have confidence, that I can have energy. You know, at 58 years old, one of the things that I like to do is I like to be busy. I've got the cutest little grandchildren. And for me, my happiness comes with playing with them. That could be jumping on the tramp. That could be chasing them. That could be getting on the floor and playing with them, whatever that looks like. That's what it looks like to me. I love to ski. I love to dance. I love to run. I like to be active. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to feel the same way I do. But what does optimal health look like to you? If you could picture in your mind what optimal health looks like, what would that be? Think of that for a moment. And that's what I want you to think about as we're going through this. And you can think to yourself, what does optimal health look like to me? And am I in a position ready to create that for myself? I want you to transform from super stressed and struggling to energized and alive, yet calm and collected. We're going to do it through a program. Now, if you can see this right here, which you cannot, which is okay, it's my disclaimer, right? I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose. I don't prescribe. I recommend. You get to choose. I'm not against medical doctors. I love my doctor. And what I'm going to teach you goes hand in hand together. Okay, it's not me against them. It's we are all in this on the same team. And the last thing, I'm sure you can guess it, is always consult with your doctor. So we're going to start out here with my story. And I'm going to tell you this story, and if you're okay listening, I want to teach you, I want to tell you something because my story is why I do what I do. And if you've heard me, you understand what my story is. If you haven't, this is your first time. You get to choose. You see, my daughter at age 6 was diagnosed with anxiety. I did what moms did. I went and got her on some medication. Yes, you know, the doctor said it's just a chemical imbalance. Get her on these SSRIs and she's going to be better. And I believed him. I'm naive. I believed it. It helps a little bit, but not all the way. And unfortunately, at age 15, she came to me and said, Mom, I'm tired of being the Dr. Science Project. I just want to feel normal. Which broke my heart because I thought, what can I do? I'm failing her. How can I help her? The sad thing about it is her normalcy came from turning to alcohol and then drugs, marijuana. It put me in a world that I wasn't prepared to be in. I'd never been around this drug world, the alcohol world in general, on that kind of level. And it didn't make sense to me. So I thought, you know, I can love her enough or I can ground her enough. Somehow I can keep her away from drugs. I'm her guardian. It's my job to keep her safe. You know what? I learned more about the juvenile system than I ever wanted to learn because she kept getting in trouble. She's still from me. She's still from others. She got caught shoplifting, caught drinking underage. And every time she get in trouble, I'm like, what can I do to help you? How can I help my daughter? Well, I finally got her through graduation. Now, if you have a child who is that one child that, you know, you go, she has been my best teacher in my life, my biggest teacher, that one special spirit that teaches you how to be a parent, teaches you what unconditional love means, because that's all you have. That was my daughter. And when I dragged her through graduation, I say, literally dragged her. In fact, my name should have been on her diploma. I should have said, Shelly Joe, Skinner Wallstrom, Angelique Wallstrom. I bet you understand what I'm talking about. If you got a child like that, you understand, right? So I get through graduation. I'm like, okay, we've got to figure this out. You're still young. Let's figure this out. Let's put you in a rehab center. We put her in one that costs us a whole bunch of money, and it'll all be better. She'll come out in 30 days, and she'll be clean from drugs and alcohol. And we could go on with our life. Well, 30 days she did. She came out clean from drugs and alcohol. She came out addicted to tobacco, caffeine, and sugar. So she went from this addiction to another. But she's clean. And I'm like, yes, hallelujah. We spent all this money, and now she's clean. Let's move on. Well, within 30 days of her coming out of that rehab center, she met up with the roommate she had in the rehab center who introduced her to meth. And meth is a drug of the devil. Changes every bit about you. And it put me in this terror, this fear that I can't even explain. I would live in fear every time she'd leave my house. I had her so I could look at her and see where she was going. And I knew that she was going down because she was the only one that had a car, that she was going down to Salt Lake City to the homeless shelter. She'd be the one that would be picking up the drugs. She'd bring it back. And they pay her. They pay her with more drugs and alcohol. And I lived in fear that each time my daughter left me, she's going to kill herself, she's going to kill somebody else, or she's going to end up in jail. It was so scary. In fact, the first time she ended up in jail, I was actually relieved. I was like, hallelujah. For the next few days, I don't have to worry where she's at. And I don't know about you, but if I ever got put in jail, I'd never have to go back there. And that's what I thought. She's going to be better. She's going to want to change her life. And she did. She came out of there so wanting to make changes. Mom, I want to stay clean. Mom, I'm going to move on with my life. I'm like, yeah, so awesome. Well, what I noticed is we get about 6 months into this process, and she started using a little bit of alcohol, which led her to marijuana, which led her to meth. We started that cycle all the way over until she got arrested again. And you know, the saddest thing I ever had to do as a mom was call the cops on her and have her arrested because I felt endangered. So scary. So in that process, I'm like, I have to help my daughter. If you are out there and you have a child and you're like, I would go to the depths of hell for that child, then you understand what I'm going through, what I went through. I was determined to do whatever I could to get an answer. So what I do, I prayed. I said, God, Heavenly Father, help me find answers. I'm going to lose my daughter. I'll do whatever if you'll just let me find an answer. Well, you see, the answer I received took my daughter from this, which is her mugshot, to this. Now, do I have your attention? Now you ought to be saying to yourself, well, I'm not an addict. What does this have to do with me? What does this have to do with weight loss? Well, this is the first part of the program, Amino Acid Therapy. Okay? So you might say, well, I am not addicted to drugs or alcohol. This doesn't fit me. And I would say, well, okay, I am a sugar addict. I also, until up to a couple of years ago, was a caffeine addict. I was a Diet Coke addict. Now, at the time, I would not ever say to you, I am a sugar addict. I would have said, I like sugar. I like candy. In fact, up until a few years ago, I literally thought that there was like a candy gene, like there was a sugar gene in my body, because not only do I crave sugar all the time, so do my brothers and sisters. So I just thought it was just like a family thing, right? I mean, to me, I love sugar. Some people like chocolate. I am straight sugar. To me, cotton candy is the candy of the gods. I mean, it's just like, especially when you go to like an event, like a local event, a fair, and you get that really good, fresh, warm cotton candy. Anyway, back to that. That's my favorite. Okay. And it wasn't until I learned this program that I learned that I'm actually a sugar addict. I was using sugar to feed my brain. And I was using Diet Coke as to caffeine. I would have just told you that I like the taste of it. Now, if I ask you also, do you ever have any stressors in your life? You know, on top of my daughter being an addict and going to jail in 2017, I had this cute little granddaughter right here. Her name is Bracklyn. And in 2017, she was 11 months old and she was diagnosed with diabetes, type 1 diabetes. It's never been in our family. We didn't know what to do with it. I didn't even know how to help her. Do you understand how much a drop of insulin is that saved her life? It's crazy. This little girl wasn't even here yet. Her name's Harper Jo. She's such a spitfire. Both of these look just like their mom. When I'm with them, I feel like I have my daughters again because they're just like them. So much fun. Anyway, her mom was pregnant with her, and she had her natural. Everything went great. And 3 days after having her, she was in full-blown postpartum OCD, which is such a scary state. And she lived in such fear, she wouldn't tell anybody that eventually she ended up in the psych ward. 3 daughters, 3 main events. At the same time, my house flooded, my roof had to be done. Yeah, my floor flooded. It was great. You know what I'm talking about now. So I'm talking about, we have things in life. We have anxiety. We have depression. If I asked you, do you struggle with anxiety? Do you struggle with depression? Do you struggle with stress? Oh, stress, really? Do you struggle with OCD? Do you struggle with lack of energy, lack of sleep, cravings, addiction, weight gain? And if you can answer yes to any of those, then what I have to teach you can help you. And what does it look like? It looks like this. It looks like a 3-legged stool. All right? Feed your brain, change your life. Just like a 3-legged stool has to have all 3 legs strong to stand, so do we when we want optimal health. Okay? We have our brain, actually the brain. We have our bodies, and we have our thoughts. And when all 3 of those areas are strong, then we have optimal health. But just like that stool, when one of those legs isn't strong, we don't have optimal health. By adding all these together, it brings optimal health. That's what we're going to talk about. All right. So what does that mean? How are you going to learn about this? First of all, we're going to talk about the nutrtion in your brain. All right. So how I learned about this, and this is where my prayer was answered. Within 2 days of praying, I need help. I was watching TV. I was watching a community event where, where they were talking about how they're using amino acids in large amounts through IVs in rehab centers, addiction centers. And what they found is after 3 days, their cravings were completely gone, were going away. And after 10 days, they were completely gone. In fact, they had a 85% rate of recovery, which if you know anything about addiction, you know that's phenomenal. And I thought, this is my answer. I'm getting my answer right now. Thank you. It's $1,000 a day for IV injections. And I'm like, okay. If that's my only answer, well then, I'll do what I have to do. But I knew that there were supplements. You could buy supplements at the health food store. So my thought is I'll just go buy a whole bunch of supplements, a whole bunch of amino acids, and I'll give my daughter a whole bunch of amino acids. Now, it might take longer than, 10 days, but maybe in a month, I might help her. So at the time I called my son-in-law, who was a nurse at the time, and I said, help me out. I'm going to go buy all these amino acids, and I'm going to give them to Angela. That's her name. And tell me how much to give her. And he's like, you know what? You can't just throw amino acids at people. You need to understand them. I'm like, well, yeah, you're probably right. That's good advice, right? Imagine that. So I decided to Google, of course, amino acids supplements used in rehab centers. And I found one out of Florida, and I called the owner and said, help me out. I have clients because as a hypnotherapist, I was seeing clients at the time, and they'd come to me and they had the desire, they wanted to make changes. And so I would work with them and they'd leave and I'm like, yes, that was fun. We did it. They come back next week. It was like I hadn't done anything. I'm like, what the heck? So I'd work with them again. Yes, they'd leave and it was amazing. And they come back the next week, it's like 51st dates. I'm like, what am I missing? They have the desire to make the changes, but there's something missing here. So when I called the owner in Florida, I said, look, I have my daughter who's an addict, and I have clients that are as hypnotherapists that I feel like they need something to make a change. What can you teach me on amino acids? And he's like, you know what? I can teach you exactly everything you want to know. Or in 2 weeks, we're having a training in Salt Lake City, which is 30 miles from my house. You're going to learn everything you need to know. Thank you. I knew my prayer had been answered because what I learned has changed lives, thousands of lives. My life, my family's life, my friends. It's been amazing. So what am I talking about? Well, in your brain, you have 4 neurotransmitters, okay? Serotonin, GABA, endorphins, and dopamine. You can see that. It says, there you go. Can you see that? They are your happy, calm, positive, feel-good energy chemicals in your brain. So they fire. And when they're working the way they're supposed to, that's what you feel. It's energy. You feel drive. You got focus. You feel happy. You can calm yourself down. But when they're not working and they become depleted, and they become depleted for lots of different reasons, sometimes you're born with less of them. Hence why my daughter was probably struggling with anxiety at age 6. Sometimes it's toxins, it's lifestyle, it's diet. It's the fact that 60% of people over the age 40, so 40, right? Or 40, whatever, your neurotransmitters have become depleted. So there's no rhyme or reason. It's not like you did this and now you feel like this. It's all of a sudden something happened and they're not working. I say we live in this perfectly imperfect body, and you know what? Sometimes it just stops doing what it's supposed to. And I like this because when I say this to my clients, it's almost like you see this relief go over them and they go, oh. All of a sudden they don't feel like they're weak. They understand it's not willpower. They understand that it's their brain saying, I need something and I want it now. You see, your brain, as humans, we like to live in this world of homeostasis. So we like to live like this, right? And when something's not working, when our brains aren't firing the way we're supposed to, and we're feeling like we need something, we're going to go to something that can help us the fastest. Our brain says, I need it and I need it now. And that could be sugar. It could be starches. It could be alcohol. It could be drugs. It could be behaviors such as excessive shopping, excessive exercise, gaming, gambling, excessive watching TV or social media or pornography. It can be a behavior. So it's your brain is like, I got to have what I want and I want it right now. And our brains are pretty powerful and they're pretty convincing and they're going to get what they want. So when you feel that need, you're like, why can't I stay away from sugar? Why can't I stay away from other things? It's because your brain has figured out, I want that, I want it now. So there's a couple ways that you can learn more about this. One is you can go to my website, hypnoaminos.com. You see that? And take a quiz. It's called Could Amino Acids Be Your Missing Link? I also have a new book. Oh, that's so pretty. Feed Your Brain, Change Your Life. Take control of your brain, body, and emotions. It's on Amazon. It's also in Kindle. Pretty soon it'll be in audio, but right now it's not. So that'll give you an idea. Hey, could amino acids help you? That way you're not just guessing. Because you see, when your amino acids are depleted, there's a symptom. There's something that you're going to do because you want to feel better. And there's an amino acid that can actually raise and feed your brain. So we're actually feeding our brain what it needs and not just going towards something that's easy like sugar or starches. That's the really cool part of this. The other cool thing about amino acids is if you need them, You're going to feel a difference really quickly. And they don't have to be on forever. They're not meant to be. You can, because they're just amino acids. But eventually you start taking them and they're firing those brain, and then your brain starts firing the way it's supposed to. And then you can either come down off of them or be done with them. The reason I was looking for this is because my daughter, an addict, and what I learned about addiction through this whole process is, first of all, addicts don't want to be addicts. Just like I said, they weren't little kids saying, I want to be an addict when I grow up. Second of all, many times they're self-medicating. And third is they're just white knuckling. So even when they're not using, because either the judge told them they have to, their family tells them they have to stop, or they've been through so much that they're like, I'm going to stop, they don't feel good because their brain is still saying, I want what I want. So that's what's really cool about this. All right, let's talk about these things really quickly. So first one is dopamine. Dopamine is your drive, it's your focus, it's your energy. When your dopamine becomes low, you're going to want something that's going to give you stimulation. It could be caffeine. It could be monster drinks. It could be coffee. It could be, like I said, soda. It could be meth. It could be cocaine. Something that's going to raise your energy. So you wake up in the morning, you're like, I can't get out of bed. And I take my coffee or whatever I take, and now I have energy. It's because your brain's like, I need something to get going in the morning. Okay? So the one that it's going to use is going to be called tyrosine. Looks like this. Can you see that? Tyrosine is energy booster. And it actually is drive, focus, motivation, and sustained energy. So where caffeine, you're going to spike and then crash, this is sustained energy. So it just makes you feel like you're awake. Okay, the next ones are your endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, right? If you ever seen that show, Legally Blonde, and she's like, there's no way she can heal her husband because she exercises. Exercises causes endorphins. Endorphins make people happy, and happy people don't kill their husbands. That's what our endorphins do. They make us happy. And when they're not working, we're looking for something comfort, reward, and numbing. Comfort, I want to feel love. Reward, I deserve this, and then I'm going to check out. It's a feeling emotional and physical pain. It's also excessive grief. It's find yourself crying and tearing up a lot. It's where self-harm comes in. So if you know somebody who's a cutter, or they're pulling their hair out, or they're picking, or anything like that, because what happens is when somebody is a self-harm, they cause self-harm, what they're doing is they're either feeling so much they want to release it, or they are not feeling anything, they're feeling numb, and they want to feel something, because the instant they pick or they cut or they do something like that, it floods their body with endorphins. Now, this is also where the opiate addiction comes from. Just so you know that what happens is somebody could go to the hospital and have no addiction problem at all. They get on these opiates. They get on these opiates and for pain, and it lights their brain up, and they're like on fire. They're like, what just happened to me? And they can become instantly addicted. That's the scary part about the opioids addiction. So to raise the endorphins, we're going to take DLPA. It looks like this one right here, DLPA. Isn't it pretty? And it says happy on it, so you don't have to wonder, what am I taking, right? The next one is your cravings. So glutamine, we need to keep our blood sugar level, and sometimes we don't, because we either are starving ourselves, we're not eating anything, or we eat a lot of sugar and starches, and so it causes us to spike and then crash. And when we do that, right here in the front of your brain is called your prefrontal cortex. Its job is to keep you in that cognitive state, which is, I'm going to make this choice and this will be my outcome. It's your willpower, it's your drive, it's your reasoning. For an addict, it's the tools to keep you sober. When you go into the state, the hypoglycemic state, it causes this to shut down. So you're literally starving your brain, you become irritable and irrational. Irritable is that hangry feeling that says, I need something, I need it now. For me, that is, when I get that state, it's like, I gotta have sugar. I don't even care if it's just sugar cubes, right? And irrational. It's like, I want this, I could care less about the outcome. So for somebody who is an addict, whether it's sugar or other things, when you get in that irrational state, it literally shuts down and it throws all the tools to stay clean and away from whatever that addiction is out the window. what we want to do is keep our blood sugar level. One of the easiest ways is by protein. So if you're in that state and you're like, I gotta have sugar, I gotta have something now, grab a hamburger, grab some protein, something that feeds your brain. What are amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. You get them from your body that creates them. Those ones are non-essential, but means you don't have enough of them sometimes. You can get them through protein, which would be meat and dairy and things like that. Also, you can get it from supplements. But it's as if that protein is broken down to the smallest minuscule amount. So when you take it, it goes into your brain and you feel it feed your brain quickly, which is very helpful to keep somebody away from things that you're addicted to, because you're feeding the brain and it makes it so those cravings go down. The other thing we can use is called glutamine. And glutamine looks like this one. They're pretty. Actually, I don't know if you can see it. This says L-glutamine, and L-glutamine is reduces cravings. It's called Craving Be Gone. Reduces cravings, digestive health, and keeps your blood sugar level. So by doing that, it keeps you in a better state. Now, I do have people say to me, why can't I just eat meat? I'll eat more meat. Well, once they become depleted, you can't just eat a piece of meat and say, I need all this to go in your brain, right? It's going to go in your brain, your body, your muscles, and all different places. So it's very hard to eat enough protein to get those neurotransmitters firing the way they're supposed to. Supplements make it easier. Serotonin is your next one, and that is your positive mind. It's your well-being. It's your self-confidence. It's your humor. So when serotonin is low, it's also a bunch of blues and suicidal thoughts. So when those things go down, when your serotonin goes down, that's what you feel. Is suicidal thoughts. You might feel winter blues. You might feel anxiety, depression, worry, OCD, irritability, rage, body hatred, food disorders, eating disorders, like I said, bulimia or anorexia. Hit the serotonin. That's why. So by taking 5-HTP and L-tryptophan, 5-HTP is called positive mind. L-tryptophan is positive sleep. They are interchangeable. You can use one or the other. Usually I tell people that you take 5-HTP in the daytime and take positive mind before sleep. L-tryptophan before you go to bed. 5-HTP can raise your cortisol a little bit. So if somebody's already having trouble with their cortisol being too high, then you want to take this before you go to bed. L-tryptophan can make you a little bit sleepy. Not every time, not always, but they are. You can interchange them, see which ones works best with you. GABA is my favorite. Okay, GABA is the neurotransmitter. That's your body's ability to calm down naturally. When it's not working, it's that uptight, overstressed, can't calm down, not in your stomach, want to bite somebody's head off feeling, like, give me something now. Or when you're so worried to do something, like speak in front of a group. We like to go to the sand dunes, and when we go to the sand dunes, I usually take these because I love the thrill, but I also want to keep my thoughts under control so I can enjoy it and not be afraid to enjoy it. But this is called GABA chill. I take a chill pill, right? So you can say to your kids, hey, go out and take a chill pill. And that's the cool thing about the amino acids is they can be used with children, like that 6-year-old, my little 6-year-old who is struggling with anxiety. They can be used for teenagers. I mean, you guys all have to admit that this has been a crazy year for teenagers, right? And it can be used for adults who are just struggling, saying, I just want to get my mind in place, right? So the first place we're going to do is we're going to work on the amino acids. We're going to feed the brain, okay? Now, just like the advice I received is you can't just throw amino acids somewhere. You need to understand how they work. Which means if you take tyrosine at nighttime before bed, you may not go to sleep. If you take too much GABA or tryptophan in the daytime, you might have a hard time staying awake, right? I had a couple of funny stories. One time I was teaching at a conference, a retreat, and I had this lady come up to me, and she's just laying by me. Yes, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? I mean, you're here to listen. You're not even listening. She couldn't keep her eyes open. And she turned to me and she said, I think I took tryptophan instead of tyrosine. And I'm looking at her going, and I gave them to 2 of my friends. So I go back and I grab her some tyrosine, and within 20 minutes, she's awake. And then her friends come in and they're like, I don't know about that energy booster you gave me. All I want to do is sleep. So it's kind of helpful to know what you're doing. All right, I have my own line of amino acids. They're called Shelley Jo Hypno Aminos. The reason is when I was learning how to do this, I had a friend of mine come up to me while I was teaching her what she needed, and she's like, "Why don't you have your own amino acids? Why you send everybody to Amazon or the health food store?" I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know I could have my own amino acids. Did you? And within a month, I did. And these are made out of America Fork, Utah. They're non-GMO, they're gluten-free, they're 100% natural, and they're vegan. And I really think they look pretty. Don't they look pretty? So I know how they work. I know what's in them. I know that they're good. And the great thing about amino acids are, first of all, they're inexpensive, which they should be. If you need them, you may feel a difference after taking them within 20 minutes or less. Okay. Now, I became angry when I first learned about these because had I known about these when my daughter was 6, she may not have struggled with drugs and alcohol at age 15. All right. So we got the amino acids. We've got the second one is our body, right? That's the second part of the stool. Nourish the body through nutrient-rich diet. We live in a world where sugar is prevalent. In fact, they figure that most adults eat about 150 pounds of sugar a year. Oh, that's a lot, right? It's in everything. It's in all of our foods and in everything that we eat and enjoy. It makes the food taste good, right? So then you say, go on a diet, and you're like, oh, that means I have to eat yucky stuff, right? No. Okay? What we want to do is keep you out of the hypoglycemic state. And what I want to do is get you eating correctly. The cool thing about what I've learned is that if I get somebody eating better, which is proteins, veggies, and good fats, and on the right amount of amino acids, their cravings are going to go down substantially. And that is really cool. So I don't have to tell somebody you have to stay away from sugar, because we also have an emotional attachment to sugar. And it's like taking away our blankie, right? It's like, oh no, I don't want to do that, right? And we're surrounded with food, guys. This is a thing that is very different in my program than a lot of other programs. Is I recognize that food is neither good nor bad. It just is, right? And we're surrounded by it. Everything we do, everything that makes us happy, everything we celebrate is surrounded by food. So when you're on a diet that's restrictive or tastes like cardboard and is horrible, it's not sustainable. So I want to teach you how to change your thoughts about food again, so you can change that relationship. Instead of having a hate relationship to food, you can have a normal, natural relationship with food. I can teach you how to snack in little amounts so that you can enjoy things and enjoy life. Because what I teach you is sustainable. It's a program that will help you to release and lose the weight, yet it's not so extreme that it's not something that you can be aware of, and stay close to it for the rest of your life and enjoy it. The other part is my I have a brand new supplement. Looks like this right now. It's called Trim Fit. Okay? What this does is I've got the amino acids. I've got the nutrition. I've got hypnotherapy. And now I have something that helps hormones. Because if you're over 50, you understand that your hormones change, right? Sorry, ladies, if you're not there yet, you're going to go through menopause. And you're going, what the heck? Who thought this was a good idea, right? All of a sudden, you're like, I'm on fire from the inside out. I have hot flashes, and I go to sleep at night. Next thing you know, I'm dripping wet with sweat, and then I'm freezing. Okay, when I go to heaven, I'm going to talk to God and say, who thought this was a good idea? Anyway, so our hormones get messed up when it comes to weight loss also, and it makes it harder to lose weight. So what this does is pretty cool, and what it does is it works with the hormones in your body. You have a hormone in your body called leptins, and when your leptins are high, it increases your appetite and makes it hard to stop eating. So what this does is it lowers your leptins to a normal level. So you don't have to feel like you have to eat so much. The second thing it has in it is it works with the adiponectin in your body, which is the hormone that actually, when it's raised, it burns body fat. And it burns it in the places that you want to get rid of most, which are your hips, your waist, your belly, and your back end. That's what's cool about this. And I just got that. This is brand new. Super cool. So now we've got amino acids. Going to clean our brain. We've got nutrition. I have a nutrition program that I'm going to teach you that is a sustainable program, because you're going to learn how to eat naturally with some snacking, and you're going to take this, and it's going to help you with burning all that fat. And the last part is hypnotherapy. Now, when I became a hypnotherapist, I had people that would look at me and they thought I was the devil. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to read my mind, or you're going to control my mind. And I'd think to myself, if I could read anybody's mind, I'd want to read my husband's mind. And if I could control anybody, I would want to control my teenagers when they were growing up, right? If you got teenagers and a husband, you get that, right? It's not mind control. It's not at all. It's hyper-focused. So if you've ever driven somewhere and you get there and you go, I do not remember how I got here, or you're on your phone and you're enthralled in this, or watching a movie or something, and somebody's calling your name and they think that you're ignoring them, and you're not, you're like this, you don't even hear them, and then all of a sudden they get your attention and they're like, why have you been ignoring me? And you're like, what are you talking about? That's because you're in a hypnotic state. It's when you become so focused on this that you're not focused out here. Okay? In your brain, you have a conscious, which is about 10%, 15% of your thought process. Is this is what I'm going to do? This is your drive. It's your willpower. I made these choices. Same for a lot of us, right? 85% is our subconscious. It's every belief, memory, emotion that we have from here back to forever. Just like a little child, you can tell them anything and they believe it. Doesn't mean that it's true. Your subconscious believes everything, every story that it accepts as truth. Your subconscious job is also to keep you safe and protected. So if it's keeping you safe and protected from a false story, that's where the problem comes. Now, in between the two, a filter develops between the ages of 7 and 12 years old. Once that filter develops, it hits things off and says, that's not true, because it's your reasoning of what and judgment of what is true and real to you. So as long as it's keeping you from things that are right, like if I told you I have a green dress on, you're like, no, you don't. All right, I have an orange dress on. You're like, no, you don't, right? Because it hits that filter and goes, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. But when I say something that you can acknowledge that, yes, it is true, it is pink, hot pink, love it, then you can accept it, right? That's how things get into our subconscious. And sometimes we have a story down here when it comes to weight loss or emotions or things like that aren't in alignment with what we want. So we could set a goal and we're working on this goal and we keep getting sabotaged. Well, we're sabotaging because of this, right? We just don't know what this is right here. So what we do in hypnosis is you get into a state where you just feel relaxed. Okay, it's not mind control. No, not like that. You're actually aware of what's going on. You're aware of everything. But that filter moves away and you can figure out what the conscious and subconscious, what those stories are. So you can change them. You can fix them. You can release them. You can heal them. All right, guys, let's get down to business. I've given you a lot of really good information. And I'm sure this has you thinking, is this for me? Do I know somebody that can help? That's what I want. It's free information to send it out. Somebody you know that may be an addict, some child that you know that needs a little bit of help with ADD or focus or depression or something like that, or a teenager or yourself that you think, you know, I just want to feel better. I'm tired of feeling the way I'm feeling. I'm tired of being on a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. I get it. I understand it. So what can you do with this information? So you can take this information and do nothing and think, okay, I just spent an hour learning some more great new stuff. Awesome. When I run into somebody that could use it, I'll let them know.
You can take the quiz. You can go to my website, hypnoaminos.com, and take a quiz called Could Amino Acids Be Your Answer? You can figure it out. You can look at it. You can see, and then you can order some amino acids there and add them to your life. You can buy my book. Guys, it looks like this. It's awesome. Look at lots of pages, lots of quotes. It's a great book. It tells what life is like as a mother of an addict. It also has the how-to, how they work. Also has testimonials from people they've worked with, and it has a bunch of quotes in here. I love quotes. Okay, this is a really good one. It says, I took my last chill pill yesterday. This is your only warning. By Kathy Border. I think that's funny because, you know, take a chill pill to calm you down. She don't have it anymore. What do you do when you don't have it? Anyway, you got my book. You can go on the Hypnominos and order it there. Go to Amazon. You can sign up for a personal assessment with me. An amino acid nutrition assessment. We'll do a Zoom call. It's $99.99. I'm going to send you a link. You're going to fill it all out. It's pretty extensive on the information I ask. We're gonna do a Zoom call, and I'm going to sit down with you and say, look, this is what all of your answers say. This is my recommendations to make you feel better. You can sign up for a hypnotherapy session. I charge $129.99 for one, $399.99 for. Or you can look at doing the optimal health experience. And that is getting you off that roller coaster, right? It's a 2-month program. I'm going to take you from here to here in 2 months. The assessment is part of the program. So you get it. You get a link. We're going to go through what it means so you'll know exactly what's going on. Well, to the best of what we can, right? You'll get the book for $14.99. Yay. You're going to get the stock. You're going to get the Trim Fit. Looks like this, right? And you get a bottle. Actually, you'll get 2 bottles. One for each month. It's going to help burn the belly fat, and the waist, the hips, the belly, the butt. It's $39.99 per month. You're going to get all these aminos. You're going to get GABA. You're going to get DLPA. You're going to get tyrosine, energy booster. You're going to get 5-HTP, positive mind. You're going to get L-tyrosine, energy. Well, one of them is L-tryptophan, which is sleep, positive sleep, and glutamine, which is craving to be gone. You're going to get those. You're going to get 2 sets of them, 1 each month. You're going to get a nutrition program. So instead of just saying, okay, I want you to have some protein and some good fats and some veggies, I'm going to give you some ideas. So you have, for those that like a little bit more program planned, you got that, okay? You're going to get Zoom meetings once a week. We're going to have 3 of them per month. We'll skip a week, 3. One will be on amino acids nutrition. The other will be a group hypnotherapy. The third one will be a question and answer, so we can make sure you're on the right course. We can celebrate. Awesome. We'll have another group hypnotherapy. We'll have an amino acid nutrition and talk about fitness. Another group therapy. And question, because this is my beta program, guys. And we're going to tweak it as we go to see how many sessions do we actually need to feel better. Okay? The whole program, 2 months worth. If you bought each of these separate, it would cost you $1,356.95. So $1,356.95 is a 2-month value. You split into 2 payments, $678.48 each. Or if you're one of the first 5 to register and use the discount code HEALTH, you can do 2 payments for $549.99 each, which is $1,099.98, which is a savings of $256.97, or even better, if you pay for both months upfront using this code BETTER, the cost will be $999.98, with a total of savings of $356.97. That's a big discount. You get this whole program. You get to be led off that roller coaster. I want you to learn that food is not the enemy. I want you to help with your relationship with food. Help with your relationship with your scale. Help you to see yourself differently. teach you how to snack, how to live. Guys, we live in this great world and it's filled with lots of great things. It's miserable when you're so tight on what you can eat and so, so afraid that, oh my gosh, if I eat this, I'm going to get out of control. I can teach you. Plus, along with amino acids and the Trim Fit and the nutrition program, I know your cravings are going to go down. It's incredible. What do? You're going to go to hypnoaminos.com. First page, you'll see optimal health experience. Then there's a button that says sign me up. You go to that.
This is what I want you to do. Is I want you to think about it and think, am I sick of being on that roller coaster ride? If you've been on a long time, then you probably are. Am I ready for my brain, my thoughts to be in alignment, to let go of some of this emotional stuff that I'm holding on to? And this would be for you. If you have a child that's struggling, teenagers, part of this might be for them. Just think about it. Think how I can help you. I'm Shelly Jo Spindler Wallstrom. My business is Shelly Jo Hypnominos. I'm also known as the Amino Acid Lady and Hypnotherapist. Let me help you. Life matters. Your life matters.